All right, Chamber of Commerce taking a deep dive into the housing crisis in St. Johns County. Here we go, another housing crisis story where, again, nothing really seems to change. St. Johns County Chamber of Commerce has taken an active interest now, they say, in addressing the ongoing housing crisis, as revealed by Isabella Renault. Is that how I say that? Chamber president? All right. Business owners in the region are struggling due to soaring housing prices, leading to a significant loss of employees. The high cost of living is directly impacted by the operation of local business. I don't know how some of these, especially restaurants, are doing it. I don't know how some of these places are doing it. And people are buying more restaurants. That's not the business I would get into.
There's 4 and 5 people living together. Adults.
Yeah.
True.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's almost all of my neighbors, by the way. I mean, you look down the street and it's just 5 cars in the driveway at all times because there's multiple people that have to cram into one place if they want to live in St. Augustine, St. Johns County. They commissioned a study to analyze the economic hardships faced by employees at key county employers, including Northrop Grumman, Sheriff's Office, School District, UF Health Flagler Hospital, and the hospitality industry business. Well, good. At least they're kind of surveying and pulling from the
front line of the hospitality.
Yeah, exactly. The front line. That's kind of the word I was looking for there. According to a study, a Northrop Grumman employee or UF Health nurse would need to earn double their salary to afford a median priced home in the county, which the median price, every time we talk about the median price, it goes up so much. It is at $510,000. Wow. $510,000.
I can't imagine.
That's unbelievable. $500,000 for all these crappy homes in the shores. You know, it's like crazy. They're pretty strong, though. Those shores houses are pretty strong, actually. St. Johns County deputies require slightly more than double their income, while school teachers about 2.7 times their salary. I mean, these are some of the most crucial folks in St. Johns County.
Right.
I mean, the food industry, obviously nurses, teachers, and police. And they have to at least double their salary to be able to afford to live alone.
And have a spouse.
You know, I love the, Troy, you might take exception to this, maybe not, but you could speak to this. I love the realtor lines that you get. You know, I hear realtors talk, sometimes it's on the radio, sometimes it's just a realtor friends that I talk to, and they talk about interest rates, and they're like, well, you know, back in the 80s, I was paying 12, 15%, which you were, right? I mean, that was, but also the homes were $25,000 back then. You know, it wasn't a $500,000, 12%. You know, the percentage rates we're seeing right now are just, they're insane on a $500,000.
And I love realtors that, you know, that are giving financial advice and they don't own their own home.
My house,
you shouldn't listen to.
My house has doubled in the past 3 years.
Has it? Wow, doubled. Good for you. So mine's gone up about 100.
But that shouldn't be a thing. How do prices double in 3 years?
Especially when they're already in the hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Hopefully you're homesteaded and you're not paying double the taxes.
I am now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Keely.
Yeah, Keely hooked me up.
There you go. Hospitality industry workers face an even steeper climb, needing, get this.
Yeah, it's crazy.
5 times their income to afford a home. That's why 5 people live together, because that's what it takes.
You can't live on $15 an hour. You just can't.
No. And boy, when I was coming up, man, the restaurant business was the business to be in here. I mean, you were rich. You were rolling. You weren't rich, but you were rolling in it, man. Yeah. If you were making $500 a week when I was 15 here, doesn't feel like that long ago, but boy, you were crushing it. You were doing great. You're doing better than a lot of people in St. Augustine, but
better than government workers. That's what I was at the time.
Right. Yeah. Restaurant workers are driving by you in their Benzes, like, hey, parking and rec guy.
Yeah. And I'm got my muffler wired up.
Right. Yeah. Study highlights both purchasing and renting in St. Johns County, and they're increasingly unattainable for most essential workers. For most workers, period. For most all of us. Even those sharing accommodations with roommates. It's unbelievable. $500,000. The median home price. There's almost no home in St. Johns County that's actually worth that. I think a lot of people are saying we're going to have a crash this year in the housing market.
Really?
That's what Some people on YouTube are saying.
Okay.
Well, it's an election year, so it's always pretty volatile. So it definitely will plateau. Because people don't know the what ifs that are going to happen.
Right.
And election years are usually everybody kind of just stays
Status
pat,
quo. Yeah.
you know? Yeah. So
I think it's going to
by
be a
staying pat,
wild
that means
year.
it's going to drop a little bit.
I think we're going to see a very volatile year, period,
Already
this
started.
year. Yeah. Study highlights both purchasing and renting. We did hit that. In response to these challenges, the Chamber of Commerce proposing solutions now. Renault suggests incorporating these solutions into the county's comprehensive plan and land use map, which is currently undergoing updates. County government has introduced a workforce housing designation.
Okay.
To encourage developers to build more affordable homes, which developers aren't really buying into, it doesn't seem like. However, Renault emphasizes that isolated projects are not going to be enough, especially in the small number that we're seeing. A sustainable program encompassing the entire community is necessary to address the housing issue effectively. You know, we go back to the tourist stuff, and I'm starting to not be able to stand the argument that, well, you guys, why are you guys not grateful for all the tourists? They make your standard of living go up. They pay for everything. No, they make everything more expensive around here. They make everything wildly more expensive around here, and it's just not a valid argument.
Tourism does keep our taxes lower than a lot of the other areas, but I mean, as
Our
far
taxes
as,
could be lower, but the price of everything's higher. Even the gas is higher.
I can tell you right now, you go to a restaurant here in St. Augustine and you go to a restaurant in DeLand, who's not a tourist town, and you'll see the significant difference in prices.
Right.
And that's because the restaurants here have to pay more because of housing situations, have to do all of these things. So it all gets trickled back down. If you live in a tourist town, you're gonna have a higher cost of living for sure.
Right. So where does it balance out?
Where
does it balance out?
Where's the balance?
But if the groups that get the benefit of the Florida tourists are the small towns.
Yeah.
You know, the ones that don't have tourism. They get the
but again,
benefit
at
of
what
that with the
cost?
taxes. Yeah.
You know, our average house is $510,000
Right.
because we're a destination that people want to go to and move to.
But what is the solution? Is there like a voucher that maybe they can give some of these employees for? I don't know. There's like
No.
No, you just gotta revamp yourself and get through it, or you go to one of these small towns, unfortunately, and that's the sad part of it. And we're losing a lot of people. Like a lot of people work here, like Clay was saying, work here, but they can't afford to live here, so they're driving in.
Oh, most of my friends live in Palaca. Yeah, they left here because it was like
Palaca or
ridiculous.
Palm Coast, and
They cashed in on their homes and they bought something better over
And
there.
even Palm Coast's pretty expensive these days.
it's bumping up for
Used
sure.
to be a
man.
sleeper community.
It did. I mean, you could buy a house for $75,000 in
Right.
Palm Coast not too long ago.
Tumbleweeds down there.
Yeah. Chamber plans to present the findings to the county's elected officials and has established the Attainable Housing Coalition aimed at supporting the workers who are vital to the county's economic health. Yeah, we got to do something. I mean, we got to do something in a hurry because, like you said, Davey, people are leaving.
Right.
You said it too, Troy. People are leaving in droves, man. I mean, they really are. You just can't, if you can't afford to live here, it's mathematically just not worth it to be
I
here.
can't say it hasn't crossed my mind because there's definitely been some
Crossed all of our minds.
white knuckle moments.
It's crossed all of our minds. Troy was pretty close.
It's so tempting because like that number is like, oh wow, I only owe $70,000 on my house. I can get $600,000 on my house, and
Right.
I mean that's like
Right.
at my age, it's like, oh, that's a good number,
Right. It's
You know?
incentive to sell and leave the
Yeah.
county. Honestly,
You know?
we have nothing but incentive to leave St. Johns County.
So no,
That
I mean
stinks.
that's definitely, but you got to live somewhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and luckily, all of us got into our houses at a rate that we can afford. And
What
we
a
can,
blessing.
We can live,
Yeah.
we can
Oh
live
my
here. So,
God. Your mouth to God's ears.
Yeah,
so
man.
we all
I
are-
would not be living here if I didn't get in.
What a blessing.
I wouldn't be able to afford
I
it.
mean, you guys, and not to throw it. But you guys don't have children. Can you imagine a single mom working with a child?
No, I couldn't imagine.
Who has to pay for childcare? So that percentage is already gone. Trying to find housing, coming up with a down payment with that. Now your car breaks down. I mean,
I
the
know.
whole world. It's
I know.
The whole weight of the world
always
hits you with
dreamed,
that.
I always trained, I always visualized about being a dad. But I am so glad that I don't have a kid. I got to say it out loud because it is, and it's sad to say that because I know I have great talent for it, but like there's so many things going on with young people these days, let alone to afford the life to be able to have a kid. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Right.
No, and I'm, I'm very fortunate, where I'm at in my life with my boys and stuff.
Fortunate you had kids when you did.
Right.
Yeah, jeez.
True.
And but I mean, I just, my heart goes out to those single parents.
All of y'all, yeah.
They gotta find childcare. They gotta find a job that matches up with everything else, and it's just the
You gotta have
numbers.
special insurance to get a rebate from childcare. It's not cheap.
The numbers-
$600 a month is the average for childcare.
Yeah, the numbers are so against you. I mean, it's just. That's why the people are, families are living together. It's not just roommates and roommates. We're talking families are living together.
Yeah. And we're seeing a boom and a need for, so many of these campuses that house families, that help support families who are struggling, man. So, yeah, we're in a mess. We're in a mess. The whole country's in a mess, but we're really in a mess down here. We really, really are. We need to figure it out.
But we're unique and we can get out of a mess. I think we can.
Well, we got to before we turn into Daytona, and we're just a huge slum shell of our former selves.
I couldn't do it.
Well, that's the whole thing is these prices keep us from being. I mean, there's a good and bad with it. They keep us from being that slum.
Right.
There's nobody who they're not moving here. But
everybody left Daytona, and
But
look
when
what happened.
and if everybody moves out, housing prices go
Daytona's
down.
always a shithole, guys.
It was always has been. MTV made it look real cute. MTV made it look real cute.
That was that week. Believe me, I grew up in that area.
The whole town smells like piss for that spring break month.
Yeah.
Or it used to.
It never was nice. I mean, I would go to the boardwalk and it'd be like, stepping over the guy with the needle in his arm. So, but I mean, and that was when I was a child.
Yeah,
That's 50 years ago. So,
Yeah.